Oh, hello there. I'm Bill Chan.
I'm Nimakong.
I'm Van Chan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chapter 4, Section 1 of A Tale of Two Cities, Book the Second Golden Thread.
S.
Ah.
A Tale of Two Cities, Book the Second Golden Thread. Charles Dickens. Chapter 4, Section 1. From the dimly lighted passages of the court. The last sediment of the human stew that had been boiling there all day was straining off, when Dr. Minette, Lucy Manette, his daughter, Wister, Ori, the solicitor for the defence, and its counsel, Wister, Stryver, stood together drown Mr. Charles Darnay just released congratulating him on his escape from death. It would have been difficult by far brighter light to recognise in Dr. Minette intellectual face and upright of bearing, the shoemaker of the garret in Paris. Yet no one could have looked at him twice without looking again. Low grave voice, and to the abstraction that overclouded him fitfully, without any apparent reason, while one external cause, and that a reference to his long-lingering agony, with oasis on the trial evoke this condition from the depths of his soul. It was also in its nature to arise of itself, and to draw a gloom over him, of the actual Bastille thrown upon him by a summer sun, when the substance was 300 miles away. Only his daughter had the power of charming this black burden from his mind. She was the golden thread that united him to a past beyond his misery, and to a present beyond his misery. And the sound of her voice, the light of her face, the touch of her hand, had a strong beneficial influence with him almost always. Not absolutely always, for she could recall some occasions on which her power had failed, but they were few and slight, and she believed them over. Wister. Darnay had kissed her hand fervently and gratefully, and had turned to Mr. Stryver, whom he warmly thanked. Wister, Stryver, a man of little more than 30, but looking 20 years older than he was. Stout, loud, out, bluff, and free from any drawback of delicacy, had the pushing way of shouldering himself morally and physically into companies and conversations. That argued well for his shouldering his way up in life. He still had his weekend gown on, and he said, scoring himself at his late client to that degree that he squeezed the innocent Mr. Laurie cling out of the group. I am glad to have brought you off with honour. Wister. Darnay. It was an infamous prosecution. Coarsely infamous. Late client, taking his hand. I have done my best for you. Wister. Darnay. And my best is as good as another man's. There clearly being incumbent on someone to say, much better, Mr. Laurie said it, perhaps not quite disinterestedly, but with the interested objective squeezing himself back again. You think so? Said Mr. Stryver. Well, you have been present all day, and you ought to know. You are a man of business, and as such, go with Mr. Laurie. whom the council learned in the law had now shouldered back into the group. Dr. Manette, to break up this conference and order us all to our homes. Miss Lucy Luxel, Wister, Darnay has had a terrible day. Speak for yourself. Wister. Larry said Stryver. I have a night's work to do yet. I speak for myself and said Mr. Boy. And for Mr. Darnay. And for Miss Lucy. And a Miss Lucy. Pointedly. And with a glance at her father. His face had become frozen. As it were. In a very curious look at Darnay. An intent look. Deepening into a frown of dislike and distrust. Not even unmixed with fear. With this strange expression on him, his thoughts had wandered away. My father, said Lucy, swiftly laying her hand on his. He slowly shook the shadow off and turned to her. Shall we go home? With a long breath. The friends of the acquitted prisoner had dispersed, under the impression which he himself had originated that he would not be released that night. The lights were nearly all extinguished in the passages. The iron gates were being closed with a jar and a rattle, and the dismal place was deserted until tomorrow morning's interest of gallows, pillory, whipping post, and branding iron. Should her pupilate, walking between her father and Mr. Darnay. Lucy Manette passed into the open air. A hackney coach was called, and the father and daughter departed in it. Wister. Stryver had left them in the passages, to shoulder his way back to the robing room. Another person, who had not joined the group, or interchanged a word with any one of them, but who had been leaning against the wall where its shadow was darkest, had silently strolled out after the rest, and had looked on until the coach drove away. He now stepped up to where he and Mr. Darnay stood upon the pavement. So, Wister, Ori, men of business may speak to Mr. Nobody had made any acknowledgement of Mr. Carton's part in the day's proceedings. Nobody had known of it. He was unrobed, and was none the better for it in appearance. If you knew what a conflict goes on in the business mind, when the business mind is divided between good-natured impulse and business appearances, you would be amused. Wister. Laurie reddened and said warmly, You have mentioned that before, sir. We men of business, who serve a house, are not our own masters. I know, rejoined Mr. Carton carelessly. Don't be nettled, Wister. Or you are as good as another, I have no doubt. Better. And indeed, sir, pursued Mr. Or not minding him, I really don't know what you have to do with the matter. If you'll excuse me, as very much your elder, for saying so. Business? Bless you. To be continued.